Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda FR-V, and it's the 1.8 EX automatic. Pardon me. The car's registered RF58VGY, and mileage is 66,051 miles. The reason we do the videos is essentially just so that anyone that's looking at this car in an advert online actually gets to see that very car in operation. We're aware that people travel vast distances to come and see us, so the least we can do is to do this, mostly because we've been on the receiving end ourselves of going to see cars which have been described as good, only to go and test drive to find out it's got a mechanical fault with it or a warning light on which you've not been told about, which can be hugely frustrating and a waste of your time, obviously. Road test is also done on these very quiet country roads very close to our premises, so hopefully it'll be representative of what you'll feel yourself if offered a test drive in the car. The car, as you know from the advert, I mean, it's wonderful ownership and history. Just the one private gent that's had the car from new and has maintained the car absolutely beautifully, and it feels it, because I mean, I used to sell these when they were new, and it doesn't feel any different to that to me. The engine, as always, starts instantly, settles to an absolutely even, smooth idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. Temperature gauge is running at a third, which is exactly where it should be on a Honda vehicle, and the car's been running for quite some time now. The engines themselves are brilliant units, they really are. It's typical Honda, very, very reliable and tough and long lasting, of course, but also they're just lovely to use day in, day out. They're refined, they're quiet, as I said, very, very smooth indeed. And it just suits the character of the car really, really well. Engine then feeds through into this automatic gearbox. Typical Honda, lovely, crisp, smooth gear changes. Gear ratio is matched very nicely to the car to extract the best in terms of economy and fuel and performance out of the vehicle. And again, as with the engine, got a reputation for being very, very long lasting and tough and reliable. Notwithstanding, you should still do the obvious checks, just make sure all the gear changes are smooth, and when you select drive and reverse and stationary, just make sure there's no kind of long delays and clunks in engagement, hot and cold. But this is exactly as it should be, with next to no mileage on it for one of these things. Steering on the car, I love on these because it's old school, it's proper hydraulic power steering, and it means it's really, really nicely weighted. You get genuine feel through the steering for what it's worth, because it's obviously not a sports car, because it's a people carrier, but it's just a lovely, lovely steering system. It makes the car feel lovely and solid on the road, and that's something kind of hard to explain on video. Once you've driven one, you know exactly what I mean, because it just the car feels heavy, which is in a good way, not in a cumbersome way at all. It can't feel anywhere through the steering, by the way. Track's nice and straight, there's no vibrations coming back to the steering wheel. It feels exactly what you expect, so it feels really crisp. Chassis of the vehicle, again, what we're looking for on road test in terms of wear and tear, it's just when you hit a bump, there shouldn't be any kind of chatterings or clonking coming from underneath the vehicle, and there's nothing. So when it hits a bump like the one there, you hear it hitting it, but nothing after it, basically. I still maintain that the FR-V is the most comfortable riding of all Hondas. It's just a really, really lovely setup for the car. Passenger comfort's brilliant, because it's wide, so when you go through the corners, you don't get that huge body roll in the corners, so all passengers are kept nice and comfortable. They're not lolloping around, which can be horribly uncomfortable, of course. But it's a really class act, this chassis, it really is. And it's a shame they didn't continue bringing it in, because I just think Honda, as they often did, missed a trick with it, really. Brakes in the car, just wait till I get around the corner slightly on the straight, make sure no one's behind me. Brake pedal's really solid. Whoops, there goes my phone. Really solid. No sort of vibrations or pulsing on the brake pedal at all. I do apologise, I've got a bit of a cold today, so I'm fighting the temptation to cough at the moment the whole time. And it pulls the car up nice and straight and true as well. There's no kind of pulling sort of violently left or right. Interior of the car, I say it in the adverts and I truly mean this. These are sensationally well made cars. I don't know of people carrying its class. The only one that comes even remotely close, I think, is a Toyota Verso. I've had Tourans, and they can be rattle boxes by comparison. Certainly anything French or Italian just doesn't compare in terms of build quality. It just feels a premium product in here. Everything's working exactly as it should. Aircon's nice and cold. Heated seats work perfectly on the car. Everything that I've pressed thus far has worked exactly as intended. Cruise control, as you can see there, working perfectly as well. They aren't cheap cars. There's no two ways about it. But you pay for what you get. This is it's a lovely layout inside. It's a beautiful condition in here, and we've not even cleaned it yet. So but with the ownership, you'd expect it to be good, and it certainly is. As I said at the start of the video, the point, is brief as it might be, is literally just to show the car in operation. And with previous experience of these, know how they're meant to drive when new. And it's hard to differentiate between this and that. In all honesty, it drives absolutely beautifully. Any questions? Don't hesitate. Do give us a call.